When it takes 4 tries to get a conviction, you know something is probably seriously wrong, either with the system, the evidence, or the people who are pushing for a verdict in this case. Or maybe you are just in Massachusetts. I'm going to rewatch the Cara Rintala case, a case that I covered live the first time. And this case is just another symptom of the Massachusetts way. I didn't know it at the time, but if you watch it with me, you will see Karen Reed wasn't something special. That's the norm in Massachusetts. Bad police work, an expert who is thrown out. This case is a blueprint of what is Massachusetts and what happens when the prosecutors want a conviction more than getting it right. This little video is to prepare you if you want to jump into the Cara Rintala case, because the case we are covering is the 4th trial of Cara Rintala. So let's try and dig into it and why we are at the 4th case. First, Cara Rintala was a paramedic who lived in Massachusetts with her wife. And this case became known because it's the first lesbian marriage murder case. But what we heard about Cara and Anne-Marie and their young daughter, they were having a tumultuous relationship, fighting, financial stress, and reports about domestic violence, some ROs against each other. Both women filed complaints against each other. And it's not just one-sided, it's back and forth, back and forth. But on March 29th, 2010, yes, it's from 2010, Cara called 911 claiming she came home and found Anne-Marie dead in the basement, lying at the bottom of the stairs, covered in paint. The body was cold, and she had clear signs of being strangulated. And then the questions came because Cara said, well, I left the house earlier with my daughter to go get school supplies. Well, was it to cover up, or was it actually someone else who had done it? Well, this case will drop into some of that, so I won't spoil all of the funs. But let's just say, in true Massachusetts style, there was no solid forensic done in this case. You will hear some of the most egregious testimony from people who were at the crime scene. But in 2013, they had the first trial. That was a hung jury. In 2014, they had a second trial, another hung jury. But then, 2016, they get Cara convicted of first-degree unaliving, where she's sentenced to life without parole. But in 2021, the Massachusetts Supreme Court throws out the conviction. Why? Well, because the prosecution had used a paint expert who wasn't qualified as an expert. And his testimony helped convince the jury that the paint on Anne-Marie's body was fresh, which means that Cara must have staged the scene, that she planned the murder. The court said, this is junk. Get it out of here. So the one we are covering is trial 4. Trial 4. 2 hung juries, 1 conviction, but that was thrown out. And we will have to see what happens. Most of us probably know it, but it's a good case. You should watch it with us. And no spoilers if you know. Cara, who is a former paramedic, she was often portrayed as calm and calculated. But there's a lot of people who said, well, she got demonized because she was a lesbian mother in a tumultuous relationship. And Anne-Marie the victim, was apparently very unhappy in the marriage, and she had a side piece who was a man, and she had potentially another side piece that was a woman, which we will also hear about in this case. But these two weren't in a good place. It wasn't a happy marriage. I think we can all agree in that. But was it enough to make her unalive her? I'll let you be the judge of it. The reason why I'm picking this trial up again is because of the Brian Walsh, where Rosemary Scapicchio is on board, because this is where I got to know Rosemary. And she's not the type to pull punches. This is where I experienced her the first time, and she is great. She likes going at it with the state. So if you want a good defense attorney case, this is the case to follow, and we will be covering it over the next week and a half, probably. And then we have the Commonwealth. We know the Commonwealth aren't the sharpest, and this is another case where they don't really have the evidence, and what they have seems to be more, hey, let's just get the jury to feel sorry for Anne-Marie, and then they'll find her guilty. There's a lot of handling of the evidence that seems very reminiscent of how you do it in Canton. You have magical things happening when they're going out looking for evidence. So it's typical Massachusetts, how this can go on and on and on. And remember, this case started in 2010. So all the things you will hear from I think this is a 2023 case, you will hear that the cops who covered John O'Keefe's crime scene was just as bad as the cops who looked at Cara Rintala's case 12 years before. It's horrendous, but no spoilers. The judge in the case, she's a little stiff, but she's not the worst I've seen. But why should we watch the fourth trial? It's already been done. I can just Google the result. Well, I wanted to show it to you because Rosemary is doing a great job. She's pro bono for Cara. And if you haven't seen her, I know there's the documentary on Netflix, but if you haven't seen her, you need to come watch this trial with us and see. Yeah, I like to call her a bulldog, but she's tough in a great way, and you need to come watch it with us. So even if you're new to this case or you watched it before, this is a case where more that the process is the story than the actual crime. And this is horrendous because why does the state get to try you 4 times so they can just pile on and pile on and pile on? I feel when you have had 2 hung juries, you need to get out of here. But we'll go watch it. And if you're new to it, I know it was my 3rd or 4th case I covered. So I've had a lot of new subscribers since then. And if you want to see a case where Massachusetts is Massachusetts, but the defense attorney is hella funny and hella fighter, come watch this one with us. It's a great case. Sadly it has not the greatest outcome, but the case is very interesting, and it shows you Massachusetts is Massachusetts even 14 years later.